And in the scene, Matt Dillon's character wins an Oscar, and the Oscar presenter is none other than Glenn Close. Wow, these people, I was in the room with them. Incredible stuff. Another one that was kind of strange was I Think I Do. That was a movie with Alexis Arquette. And we filmed a sequence at a nightclub, me and a few other extras. And then I was talking to Alexis Arquette afterward, and I think he was trying to hit on me. He really liked the veins in my arms. But anyway. And also at the time, I decided to do some local plays. There was a playhouse called Authors Playhouse in Bayshore, New York, where they were original plays by local playwrights. But then life got in the way, and I got distracted by my ex-girlfriend. Spent so much time with her, and I pushed my art to the side. And that was my life, and I kind of just went nowhere. And our relationship obviously ended. So, what did I do? I turned back to my art. And what happened? I got a job as an extra in the movie For the Love of the Game, starring Kevin Costner. It's a baseball movie filmed at Yankee Stadium. We filmed there over the course of quite a few days in the early winter. It was a little challenging shoot, but one of the coolest and most surreal moments was when the movie came out in 1999. My friend and I are in the theater watching the movie, like, okay, here's the scene in the stands, and then there's this guy yelling at Kevin Costner, kind of heckling him, and just below him is yours truly. Yes, I was on a big screen with this guy. I couldn't believe it. Very surreal moment. My friend and I made so much noise. I bet the people in the theater were like, what is wrong with this guy? But it was a great surreal moment I will not forget. And during that time, I got back into some local plays in Nassau County, and some of the actors in the plays were students of this acting teacher. I said, let me see what she's about. So I joined the acting experience taught by Laurie Davis. And I learned a lot more about myself. She really gave us methods I never even knew they existed. It was a fun class, and one of the times she brought us to her teacher in Manhattan, Jim Bonney. Whoa, that was a wake-up call. He opened up even more doors. I was even able to cry and be really scared and laughed. Like, wow, this is some great stuff. And also during that time we did a showcase, and I wrote my first little scene that was acted out by me and an actress. And we performed the scene I wrote. It was a breakup scene, but came out pretty good. And then my friend Khalid pushed me to go behind the camera this time and direct a movie he wrote, and he made years and years before, but he wanted to have it shot again, but he thought I'd be a good one to direct it. It was called The Intruder, and we filmed it on the island on Super VHS. Yes, I know I'm dating myself. And it was a great challenge. I got some actor friends of mine and put them in the movie and made it. Also during this time, I was doing a side gig of being a wedding videographer. I had joined the Pros. They were in the White Plains area in New York, and I learned how to become a wedding videographer. Shot plenty of weddings around the tri-state area, and that was a good side hustle to make money. And then one day I was still trying to figure out where I should go creatively. Now, Backstage, if you don't know, is the newspaper for actors. It gives you articles about them, but most importantly, it gives you auditions, casting calls, and even classes. Well, this one issue I just so happened to lay my eyes on was spotlighting the world of voiceovers. I said, yeah, I like doing voices. So I kept looking through, and all the people were in Manhattan. Then I saw one on Long Island, Chuck McKibben. Let me check him out. And so Chuck McKibben became my voiceover teacher, and he just so happened to have studied with the one and only Mel Blanc. Yes, the voice of Bugs Bunny and so many of those Warner Brothers characters. And man, I'm glad I got Chuck because he pushed me to the levels I didn't even know. Commercials were a lot more difficult than I could have possibly imagined. You really got to believe what you're saying, and you got to sell it. So he taught me all about that, the timing, the rhythm, and really chewing your words and pronouncing things clearly and succinctly. And I did get some voiceover gigs afterwards. I found some ones online, and I did a voiceover for a PC video game and some other industrials, but man, this was pretty fun. And during this period, I got to do my first ever Shakespearean play, Othello. I had the part of Cassio, Othello's lieutenant. It was a good challenge learning the lines of the bard and performing them for the audience. Great time, though. And I also got a job in a family-owned wedding/party business as their video editor. So I edited wedding videos, bar mitzvahs, all kinds of parties. Helped me become a better wedding videographer in the long run. Now, I did stop pursuing acting as a career. Other obligations came up, so I had to get work, and I was working for Cablevision up there in New York, and it was a master control operator. Basically, I like to call it a technological babysitter. You're sitting in front of many TV screens and monitoring the channel you're watching, such as AMC or WeTV or Fuse or IFC, and make sure it's running properly. I still found time to draw and do some voiceover stuff, even for fun. I did as a kid voiceovers for comics. Now, when I was recording them, I was doing both male and female voices, and I was recording it live with sound effects that I had. I think I had a little bucket full of change and rocks that I'd rattle around for explosions, and I'd be playing music in the background, and I'd be using regular songs, so I'd have to pause the tape when the person started singing. I didn't want the singing as part of the story. I was doing mainly West Coast Avengers comics, and I revisited them in about, I want to say 2006, 2007. And it was kind of fun reliving them, but at the same time, the production value is crap. Well, I've learned so much since then. I have GarageBand on my computer. Let's redo these with better acting skills and more time to develop the character, get into the acting, and add the sound effects and add the music later. So I did that just for fun. And then my wife and I decided to move down here to Florida in 2008. I did try the acting thing again, auditioning for local plays, some commercials, but nothing really came about. Until, that is, 2009. I saw an ad in Craigslist for dinner theater. I said, I've never done that. And I had some friends that had done that in the past, so I said, let me give it a try. So I auditioned for Standing Ovation Dinner Theater with Debbie Ortiz and Sarah Sebring. Next thing I know, I'm playing Father Neil Scalapini in The Godfather's Meshuggah Wedding. It was a great new experience doing interactive theater with the audience. They got a kick out of it. I got to play off their energy and meet new incredible actors and creative people. They became my new Florida family, in a sense. Because from there, we also did a murder mystery called Let's Kill the Boss, where I played the boss. And during that time, the director's son, Frank, wrote a dinner show called Zeus's Big Surprise. I had a role as Dionysus, a very flamboyant character, which was a lot of fun to play. And this sparked something. Me and one of the actresses, Susan, thought it'd be pretty cool to have a Halloween-based dinner show. So we put our heads together and created Homecoming at Transylvania High. I did a lot of the writing for the show, and it seemed to work. We made it, and it was performed twice. Maybe it'll be performed again. You never know. But here it was, something we wrote out on the stage, performing the lines that I wrote. Like, wow, this is something. I can actually write something. And then something happened. I was watching The Walking Dead, and I turned channels to see Underworld. And then another idea sparked in my brain. I've never seen werewolves, zombies, and vampires in a movie together. So I started writing my first feature-length screenplay called Dead Planet. Now, writing a dinner show is one thing. Writing a feature-length screenplay is something completely different. Thankfully, I learned some techniques from a great book called Save the Cat. Highly recommended to read if you're an aspiring screenwriter. And other techniques I learned helped me along the process. There were some walls. I broke through them. Sometimes I had to step away. Sometimes I had to go back and rewrite a whole chunk of stuff. But eventually I had a completed feature-length screenplay. I was trying to ship it out, but got turned down a few times, of course. Then I decided to up the ante. Okay, I have a screenplay. Well, what else can I do with it? What else do? I draw. So what did I do? I drew my entire movie and said, okay, that's nice too, but can we do something more? Well, those voiceover skills came in. So I voiced all of the male parts, and my wife did the female parts. And I made little YouTube clips, which you can see, of each scene with sound effects. So if the movie ever does get made, this would be one heck of a behind-the-scenes story. Another first down here in Florida was narrating audiobooks. One of the actors in Standing Ovation Dinner Theater had auditioned for someone to do the narration of their audiobook. They didn't choose him, but I asked, would you care if I audition for them? He said, go ahead. Next thing you know, I'm narrating the book called There's a Smuggler in the Family. So I had to prop myself up in a closet to try and block out as much sound as possible. And it took some time. Narrating a whole book, you have to have little voices for each character. You have to know what you're going to say, how you want to inflect, how you want to pause. Sometimes the words that are coming out of your mouth will not match what's in front of you on the page. I swear I don't know what happens from brain to mouth. You actually see the words, but something else comes out. Example, he opened the door. I see that word door in front of me, but out came Dort? What is that? Anyway, it took about a month or a little more to finish this whole thing. I try and work on it every day. And it's just a marathon. You gotta really pace yourself, drink lots of water. But it was well worth it. I helped the text come to life. He even had me read the next book, There's a Spy in the Family. And I also got a gig as a host for this informational instructional video called Interpreting Mysteries. That was a first, being a host for something like that. And we shot it in Dunedin, Florida. It was a good learning experience. I had to memorize a lot. And towards the end, it was challenging, but we got through it. And the end result was a really good video. But then I did kind of push it away. Really didn't do anything else with pursuing art as a career. I had to buckle down and get some work. And kind of just drifted along. But then my acting chops were put to the test again in 2016 when my friend Debbie Ortiz cast me in her short film Silver Alert. I got to play a doctor. And the end result was an incredible 12-minute film. I said, wow, she did this. She put this all together. This thing's amazing. And her son Frank wrote that one too. It's like, wow, what a collaboration. So I'm thinking, maybe I should give this a shot. Do I have it in me? Maybe. Well, then some kids at church made a short film. Now, for what it was, a kid's first short film, it was okay. Then I said to myself, okay, if these kids can do it, I've got no excuse. So I remember a script I wrote. Originally called it Safe Haven, or I had another title called Finality. I don't know what that was about. But I looked at that script again. It's a short movie. It could be done. Eventually, I retitled it as The Park. Now, once you realign yourself on your creative path, things start happening. I knew with the park, I